We are now live from Europe's spaceport in Kourou, French Guiana, and connected to ESA in Darmstadt for the successful launch of Sentinel-1D satellite with Ariane 6, a new milestone for Europe's space program. I'm Julie Lenoir, I'm the head of communication at Arianespace, and I will be the moderator of this press conference. Over the next few minutes, we'll hear from the leaders who have made this launch a success, before opening the floor to questions from media. But first, I just wanted to give you this great news. We just learned that the acquisition of Signal is good. So congratulations to all the teams involved. That means that the satellite is healthy and communicating perfectly with ground control. Congratulations. To mark today's success, we are now pleased to share a special message from Mr. Andrius Kubilius, European Commissioner for Defence and Space.
Congratulations. Another landmark Ariane launch, another milestone in space for Europe. The third this year. An European rocket with an European satellite. That's robust and independent, bringing European autonomy in space, resilience on Earth, and benefits to all mankind. Today, we welcome the new Sentinel-1D satellite, which makes Europe's world-class space observation even better. Looks at our planet night and day, through rain and shine, through smoke and fire. To monitor melting ice caps, erupting volcanoes, and suspicious ships. Helping to fight disasters, rescue people, and counter crime. Using space to make life better on Earth. My warmest congratulations to everyone who made this possible. European Space Agency, Arianespace, European industry, and our dedicated teams at the European Commission. And now onward and upward to the next launch, Sentinel-6B and Galileo and beyond. In space, the sky is never the limit.
Thank you to the Commissioner for these words, highlighting the importance of this mission for Europe's autonomy and leadership in space. We now continue from ESA with statements from our institutional partners and customers. I'm pleased to invite Mr. Josef Aschbacher, Director General of the European Space Agency. That will be followed by Mr. Christoph Kautz, Director for Space Policy, Satellite Navigation and Earth Observation at the European Commission. That will be followed by Mr. Christoph Kautz, Director for Space Policy, Observation at the European Commission.
So thank you, and a very warm welcome and greetings to Kourou. Thank you for delivering the satellite safely into orbit. Thank you, Ariane Group. Thank you, Arianespace, and of course all our friends of CNES, of ESA, and everyone who has contributed to that. But also a big thank you to the European Commission. We have just heard Commissioner Kubilius, a very powerful speech, and I would like to really add my own words from the European Space Agency that we are delivering success for Europe in space. This is what is our mission. This is what we are doing. We had a number of launches already this year. We have still a few more launches to come, as we have just heard. Galileo, Sentinel-6B, Hydrogen SS actually next week, and of course in a few weeks, very few weeks, we have the ESA Ministerial Conference, and this context which we have seen here tonight with the successful launch of Sentinel-1D on Ariane 6 is really a perfect preparation and backdrop to the Ministerial Conference. So I really would like to give my thanks, my appreciation to everyone who has made this success possible. It is a huge success for Europe. Europe can be very proud of what we are achieving together with the Copernicus program, with Sentinel-1D, with the launcher programs. And this is what makes Europe strong. Because when we are putting our heads together, when we work together, we can do incredible things. And this is one example of how we do it. So thank you from my side, and very warm greetings here from Darmstadt, where we have just seen the acquisition of signals both from Svalbard and from Troll. And I hand over to Christoph Kautz.
Thank you very much. And I would also like to congratulate everybody down there in Kourou for this wonderful launch, Arianespace, CNES, and of course colleagues and friends from ESA. It was a wonderful launch that we could see without any clouds, and I think it's really a great night tonight, and I would like to thank again everybody, including of course also our industry partners who have developed and built this wonderful satellite. Thank you so much.
Good evening. Also on my side, great thanks to the team. We have another Copernicus satellite up and flying, Sentinel-1D, the fourth of this generation of radar satellites. This has already been a success story, not only with the Commission, but also for these radar missions in terms of providing a lot of application to users, to citizens, from maritime security to flooding monitoring to management of everything that's related to disaster, but also looking at deforestation, looking at agriculture and iceberg monitoring. So a lot of applications coming from the satellites, and the fourth one will only reinforce us all as Europe for supporting this application. Big thank you to the team, the industrial team in premise, the project team in ESA, ESOC, for all what they're doing now and in the next few days with the LEOP operations, and of course the Commission, our primary partner in this. We work under the leadership of the Commission, and it's a very strong collaboration here. And then to everybody who has been supporting and everybody who will use the data, of course. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. We now return live to Europe Spaceport in Kourou. To start with, I'm pleased to invite Mr. David Cavailiolès, CEO of Arianespace, to share his remarks.
Thank you, Julie. I just want to say that today is a great day for space and a great day for Europe, because today we can say that we are fully back in the game. We are fully autonomous to access to space. Why? First, with Ariane 6, we have a launcher that is absolutely reliable. 4 launches, 4 successes. Second, we have a launcher that is incredibly accurate. There is a figure I want to share with you in exclusivity. We just got some data from the flight, and the accuracy of the injection is around 200 meters. So you must imagine a launcher going at almost 30,000 kilometers per hour, and the injection is 200 meters. So this is absolutely crazy. This is incredible. And the last point, of course, is that this is a launcher which is industrial. This year, we are well positioned to do 4 launches. Some months ago, some years ago, a lot of people just didn't believe in it. And we are doing it, thanks to all the stakeholders, public, private, in Europe. So this is very positive. This is not the end of the story. We are accelerating. Next year will be even more impressive. Everybody is really committed to make it happen. So thank you to all the people involved. We are really going in the right direction, and we are really, really proud of this success.
Thank you, David, and congratulations to the entire teams for these remarkable achievements. Let's now turn to Mr. Enrico Zampolini, VP Domain Observation and Navigation at Thales Alenia Space, Italy.
Good evening. So I'm really excited to be here to celebrate this successful launch, thanks to Arianespace that put again us in the space. So now we have another Sentinel-1 in the space that will replace Sentinel-1A that after 14 years will be disposed. Now the satellite has been catched by the operation team that is trying to put him in the operation. And we are looking forward to see the first images that we should receive in the next days. So I want to thank my team, that in Rome, the team that is here, that worked together with Arianespace to have this perfect launch. Let me say perfect. Thank you very much. And then I also thanks the operation team in Darmstadt that is working with our colleague of ESA. Thank you very much.
Enrico. We'll now open the questions from journalists. Let's hand over to ESA for the local press conference. Thank you very much for watching. Here in Jupiter, let me introduce the speakers for joining us today. So you already know David Cavailiolès for Arianespace, Enrico for Thales Alenia Space. We also have Pierre Bargellini, Copernicus Space Segment Program Manager at ESA. Tony Tolker-Nielsen, Space Transportation Director at ESA. Tim Lemens, Copernicus Policy Officer at the European Commission. And Jean-Marc Astorg from CNES, Director of Strategies in the Public. And we'll be also happy to answer your questions. So could you please stand up and state your name and media? We will bring you a microphone. Who would like to start? Is there any questions?
Okay, Sandro Iannacone, La Repubblica, Italy. What are the elements that make you say that this launch was perfect? Why are you so excited about how it went?
David?
But we can do the answer together. So first, a lot of work is done before the launch itself. Teams have been working on the launcher, on the satellites for a year. The campaign itself lasts for some months. So this is really intense, and during all this step of preparation, it was very smooth. We didn't encounter specific difficulties, which is positive. And with regard to the launch, let's say the result speaks for itself, reaching the perfect orbit, being so close from the perfect point. This is really what makes me say that this is a perfect or almost perfect launch. Yeah.
So I'd like to underline the word cooperation, because this is the key to reach the result that we are able to reach today. So a real good cooperation between industry team and ESA and Arianespace, and so we are here to celebrate this success, thanks to the cooperation.
Other questions from the room?
Thank you, Eric Granet from newspaper Le Soir. So there won't be any Sentinel next. So what will be next?
In terms of Sentinel-1 or in general? In general. So in general, we have in a bit more than 2 weeks another launch. Sentinel-6B is a cooperation between the European Space Agency, the European Union, EUMETSAT, and U.S. partners, NASA and NOAA. And NASA is procuring the launcher, and we're going to launch on the night between the 16th and 17th of November from U.S. And then next year we have another launch here in Kourou, planned in September, Sentinel-3C. So it's the third satellite of Sentinel-3 series. And in this satellite will be a launch with a Vega C in September timeframe. This is just the launches. Then we are developing numerous missions, the so-called Sentinel expansion. So the program is very healthy, and we have plans to continue the data to the users for the next decades. In total, so as I say, this year, let's say the projection we have from now until 2028, we have planned 5 launches. And from 28 to 2034, we are planning 18 launches. And maybe, if I may,
Yes, sure.
coming back to the injection accuracy, I'm very happy of this number, which is exceptional. And there is a benefit for the users, because when we design the satellite, we account for a certain part of the fuel to correct problems, injection errors we call, which is the normal mistakes you make in a injection. 200 meters is fantastic. So all that fuel we don't need to spend to reach our perfect orbit. We can save the fuel and extend the lifetime of the mission for years. So probably 2-3 years more lifetime in terms of fuel, thanks to the perfect injection of tonight. So great news.
Thank you.
Thank you, Camille Gessin from Agence Europe. Just to compare, you say 200 meters is fantastic. Can you explain how was the accuracy for AC, for Sentinel-1C, for example, just to compare, if you remember?
Do you know? No, you remember? I don't know.
Pardon, je t'entends.
No. I don't have the figures, but just have in mind that being so close from the target is incredible. When we define a mission, there is a range of distance that is acceptable, and when you are in the range, it's okay. But as my colleague rightly mentioned, being in the range is good because it means that the mission is successful. Being very close is even better because you save fuel, you can exploit the satellite for a longer time, so this is really a game changer. For this one, so for this, it was much more than what we did. It was much more. Maybe the client wants to share those figures, but we are clearly within the range. And you know, Ariane 6 is a new launcher, and being so close from the target at this, let's say, step of the exploitation is really an achievement. So of course now we need to ramp up, we need to confirm those very good performance, but this is very, very promising for the future.
Another question?
Dr. Zampolini, you mentioned that we will have hopefully the first images in a few days. Are those just calibration images or are real data that we can already use? And when will we have like the real data? When will the satellite be operative with all these instruments?
So the next phase will be what we call a LEOP, in which all the equipment of the satellite will be tested. The health of each equipment will be tested. Then the commissioning phase will start. We'll get the first images, and we will use these images to calibrate the instrument. And hopefully in 3 months we will get the first real data that can be used by the scientists and from all the users.
Is there any additional question in the room? Adelina, do we have online questions also? Not yet. Okay.
My name is Alexander Gurgula and I work for Gazeta Wyborcza in Poland. You sound very optimistic, and you said you have already plans for the next decades. So are you as optimistic about financing those plans in the future, and how does the perspective look like?
It's not for me.
So I'll answer part, and I will leave the floor also to my colleague at the European Commission, because this is a partnership, ESA, EU, and many others. So on ESA side, first of all, Copernicus is an operational program, is probably, I can say objectively, the most advanced and extensive program of civil Earth observation in the world, especially now with the US situation, as you can imagine, is even more so. So there is a high interest from our member state to continue the program for the decades to come. So we have now, at the end of the month, a ministerial conference where there will be the next segment of the Copernicus program funded by ESA member states. And then in 2028, there will be the start of the next MFF. So there is, at least on ESA side and the Commission side, a very good alignment on what are the needs for financial needs for the next 10 years. We are planning for it, and of course our member state will have the intention of continuing to support this program, which is so essential for many applications. So on ESA side, we have submitted our financial request, and we will get the results in a few weeks.
And from Commission side, it's a similar story, but mostly on a different time scale, because we work with 7-year periods, which are the multi-annual frameworks, financial frameworks. The current one, there everything is foreseen, and there all the launches, all the operational costs, all the service costs are foreseen. Of course, we have to look at what will come next as from 2028, and that's what we are working on now. We are now making the budget of what will be needed, what we can do with the budget that we will get, and so on. And the discussions about that will take place in the months or the years to come, so that we are sure that we have the budget starting from 2028 until 34 for indeed financing together with ESA the next phase of the Copernicus program, which is an operational program, as Pierre already said. So the benefits for the member states and for the European Commission and for the citizen is so high that it's logic that we continue, and we have a lot of support to continue and to get the budget that we need.
Thank you.
A question from Antoine Meunier, La Chronique Spatiale. It's a question for David. 4 Ariane 64 are expected in 2026, but how many next year will be dedicated to Kuiper?
Well, as usual, we'll communicate on next year manifest next year. Okay? Some hints anyway. Okay, because I don't want to disappoint anybody. As we said in the past, we want to more or less double the cadence. Okay, so this year is 4. Let's say that an ambition of 6 to 8 next year will be great. We'll start the year with an Ariane 64. It will be very exciting. It is a launcher that has a lot of common with Ariane 62, so all the experience gathered this year, of course, will be very useful. At the same time, this is a launcher that is more or less twice more powerful, and typically for constellations this is very relevant, because with one launch you can stack a lot of satellites, and so you can deploy very quickly the constellations. That said, Ariane 64 is interesting for Kuiper, but not only. We see a lot of clients, private but also institutional, that are interested by this launcher. So this is very positive for next year and also for the years after.
Thank you. And another question coming from our online watchers. This is a question from Jay Keegan from NASASpaceflight.com. The question is for Arianespace. There is one more Ariane 6 launch on the manifest for 2025, bringing the total to 4 for this year. What cadence do you expect for 2026? Having now flown Ariane 6 5 times, are there upgrades planned for the pad to allow for a higher cadence?
Okay, so I think I answered the first point, and maybe I can complete by recalling that our target is to reach cadence 9 to 10. Okay, and it will be in a short time frame. If we do next year more or less twice than this year, then the year after we should be quite close to this target. We think that at this cadence, taking into account the performance of Ariane 6, we can deliver a lot. Okay, in low orbit, Ariane 6 with upgrades and so on will be around 24 tons of performance. So if you multiply it by 10, it represents a huge capacity. So we think it is relevant. Now, of course, at the same time, we see more and more projects on the private side, but also on the public side. IRIS² is one of them, but many others are coming. So for the moment, our focus is to reach our target cadence. If we need to go beyond, if we think it's relevant, let's discuss it. But I think that this is a market, this is a client that must drive our decision.
Thank you, David.
Perhaps that can be completed with regards to the future of Ariane 6 and the improvements by Tony Tolker-Nielsen. Thank you.
Sure. Tony, would you?
The journalist was looking for the future improvements to Ariane 6 or upgrades. Thank you.
So, is it working? Okay. So at the moment we are working on an upgrade of Ariane 6. We call it Block 2, which is with an increased solid rocket booster loading. Today we are at P120. We will increase it to P160. And we will also increase the performance of the Vinci engine. Today it has a thrust of 180 kilonewton, and we will increase that to 200 kilonewton. This should give a gain of about 2 tons in LEO, and this should come towards end of next year. So that's what we are working on right now. The P160 has done its qualification test, so it's done, and we are now doing the analysis of this data, and we are doing a qualification review as I speak, actually. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Is there any? Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
Hello, Senna Starks from Belgium for the Standard. One of the cornerstones of Copernicus is that the data is publicly available. Will this also be the case for the AIS system data, which could be sensitive?
Tim?
That's a very good question. I think you have read the documentation very well. Indeed, in general, that's the point of view, that all data should be fully free and openly available. However, with AIS, as you correctly indicated, there is a sensitivity issue that we cannot just do the same for those type of data. It's not just sensing images from Earth, it's really getting messages which are sent out by vessels, and there could be personal data problems. So we are looking into this, and we will make it available for all national authorities and maritime institutions in Europe, but it will be in a secured environment, so not fully public.
Thank you. Any additional questions from the room? Again?
Okay, about the launch, Ariane 6 was, I think, powerful enough to take another payload next to the Sentinel satellite, because the previous Sentinel was launched with Vega C. So was this an option to include another payload?
Well, for the moment, we are at the beginning of the exploitation of Ariane 6, so we want to focus on what we call the main payload or the main passenger. This is why we focused on the Sentinel-1D satellite, and that's it. In the future, and we are already studying it, on some launches we will be able to have one or two main passengers, one or two big satellites, and auxiliary one, what we call auxiliary ones, meaning smaller ones. It requires additional qualification, additional studies, so we want to go step by step. Of course, our main commitment is to ensure the success of the mission. So for the moment we do what we call single launches, but in the future this is clearly something we could imagine to do, because the more we use the performance of the launcher, the better, simply.
Thank you. Any other questions? Not from online? Okay. So I guess this closes this press conference. Thank you for attending this press conference of the successful launch of Sentinel-1D with Ariane 6, and see you on next missions.